I'm not quite sure where the expression comes from. I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. It might be Monty Python. Actually, I'm not. I'm politically independent. I'm not from the government. I am here to help you, but I'm not from the government. I'm the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment, which is an independent officer of Parliament, like the Auditor General. So that political independence is very important. The core of my job is giving advice to MPs across Parliament, and because I am independent, no one is controlling what I say. Last week I released a report actually on State of the Environment reporting, and it was praised by your local MP here, Nick Smith, the Minister for the Environment, and the Green Party, so I thought that was interesting. My submission on the government's discussion paper on mining is being sent in today. I'm taking the opportunity of speaking to you to publicly release my submission, and we have some copies here of it afterwards, but you can also get them off our website. As Tim said, I've been the Commissioner for a little over 3 years. The first report I released in this role took me to this area, the investigation into the clean-up of the Mapur contaminated site, and it's been quite interesting on this trip running into some people I met then. The Mapur story underscored for me the difficulty we have in assessing the ongoing environmental and financial costs of rehabilitating land. It really blew out its budget. And last year I released a report on the Stockton mine, not too far from here, over on the coast. That investigation certainly introduced me to the quagmire of our mining legislation. And I mean quagmire. We're here today to talk about Schedule 4 of the Crown Minerals Act, an act that was passed in 1991, the Crown Minerals Act. You may be interested to know that there is an area in Southland, nearly 300 hectares, which was licensed for mining well before the Crown Minerals Act was a twinkle in the Honourable John Luxton's eye. The environmental conditions associated with that licence were set in a time when we thought it was okay not to put our babies in car seats. And this licence, with its weak, unenforceable environmental conditions, doesn't expire until, wait for it, 2062. It was granted for 100 years. There are another 100 or so old mining licences with the same weak, unenforceable environmental conditions there, though none of them are as long-lived as 2062. But there are some significant ones that run to 2030 or so. So you may be interested in looking at that. There are aspects of the proposals in this discussion paper that take us back to before 1991, to when the Crown Minerals Act was passed, to the time when mining was given a specially privileged status over other land uses. I am certainly not against all mining in New Zealand. Like everyone else, I benefit from the end products of mining every day. But what is being mined, where it is being mined, and how it is being mined are all crucial questions. And there's a lot of confusion going on in this debate. 60% of land under DOC management is not on Schedule 4. The issue of taking land out of Schedule 4 is being confused with the issue of access to DOC land. Schedule 4, I said the Crown Minerals Act was 1991. 6 years later, Schedule 4 was added, 1997. It was strongly supported across Parliament. Okay? Parliament's intent, it wasn't a close vote, it was a very clear vote. Parliament's intent was to provide clear guidance on which areas of conservation land could be mined and which couldn't. It was, in effect, a political pact, a cross-party agreement that there were special parts of New Zealand which we should leave as healthy ecosystems for our children and grandchildren. It was not simply seen as an environmental issue by MPs at the time, and it also gave some certainty to mining companies. The most valuable conservation lands were made a no-go area and put on Schedule 4, and it became much clearer which areas could potentially be mined. To me, the strong presumption is that land put in Schedule 4 stays in Schedule 4. So any consideration to remove that protection must meet a very high threshold. In proposing any removal, the onus is on the government to really demonstrate that the value to New Zealand of extracting minerals below the land justifies the risk to the conservation values above the land. The proposals in the discussion paper don't come anywhere close to meeting this test. The information about the areas proposed for removal is vague and rudimentary. Let's look at the Parakawai geological area, the 68 hectares near Waihi. On one side, the discussion paper tells us excellent potential for medium grade, medium tonnage, gold, silver vein deposits. On the other side, the discussion paper says conservation values include distinctive geological features and valuable habitat for threatened species. That's all. How much royalty does the government receive? How many jobs would be created? What threatened species? Are they found anywhere else? What effect might mining have on them? What is the kind of mining that is likely to take place there? There's no indication of answers to any of those questions in this report. John, for instance, earlier gave us some extra information about Parakawai, talking about the geological formations, and said there's much better, I think it was basalt formations elsewhere. But we don't know that. We're not told that in the discussion paper. A similar example, Peter, sorry, why did you look like a Michael for some reason? To me, timberlands and the addition of timberlands to Paparoa. Again, that story of the origin of that piece of the Paparoa National Park is simply not in the discussion report. The information in the report also raises my economic hackles. Estimates of the in situ value of deposits give little indication of economic gain to New Zealand.